What's up with it, everybody? It is ya boy, and I'm here with my good friend from Team Liquidation. Please, Divinity, introduce yourself.
Uh, yeah, hello everyone. I'm Divinity. I'm here to help because I did all of the stats, that funny stat doc that you see in general chat or in the recap. I made that, so I've a bit of extra context as well as having played this season.
Yes, every time that I took a screenshot of the top 10 players throughout the season, and then people are always like, you cut off a couple people, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't do this. I'm just taking a screenshot of another doc. Thank you, Divinity, so much for keeping those stats this season. That has been a huge help, brother.
Yeah, it
And
was fun.
Yeah, and speaking of which, by the time you guys see this, I actually haven't recorded it yet, but the finals recap should be out. So this should not be a surprise to anyone. But the Flutter Main Pirates beat Team Liquidation in the final 3-2. I guess, Div, do you have any thoughts on that? Just because I have you here
Uh,
and you guys came in second place.
I'm interested what you think about it because I think ignoring the results is a bit of a disappointing final for us in FMP. I think there's like 3 games just ended on a 90% move missing. And
Yeah,
so, like
I,
we aren't super happy about it. I don't think they're probably super happy about it, other than the fact that they won. But
I want to see you guys both come back next season and just like have a redo
mhm.
slugfest in the finals again. See if it turns out a little bit differently.
Uh, hopefully it will.
Yeah. But anyway, point of this video, right, is to do the awards recap, and then at the end, we're also going to get Divinity's thoughts on some of the formats, some of the teams, and et cetera, et cetera. So, Dave, you want to give out the first award? We are looking at Scarlet Violet. Who is it?
It is of course Scamp. Guy was a beast by far. Like best record, especially if you include playoffs. With playoffs, he's one of the contenders for best overall player. He did great. His teams were great. His prep was great.
Yeah,
It's
I'm pretty
Scamp.
sure
Who would have thought?
every yeah, I'm pretty sure every season he's like on this board. He's doing always hot like 4-1, 4-0, et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then I will take the second one because for Uber's MVP, there were kind of two big ones. We're given a different
He's that
MVP.
guy.
Yeah, I've
That's
never seen this guy
crazy.
before. There's another MVP that you probably already know. We'll see him in a little bit later. We're giving him overall MVP, but for Uber's baby, we're giving it to Divinity because he went 4-1 in the regular season, which was tied for second best record in the regular season, and then 2-0 in playoffs. So 6-1 overall, most amount of wins across the entire season, including playoffs. So congrats, big dog. You did it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And next, you got it.
Next is Reg. His record might be surprisingly like a little bit worse than mine in Scamps in regular season. Balsi was like very kind of close this season, where instead of having these big like 4-1, 4-0, 5-0 teams, we just have nice 3-1 after playoffs. He's 4-1. He did great. A lot of uh, parity in LCs, so there's no crazy records, but Reg had the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's hard to keep that top level consistency in LC.
Mhm.
Sometimes it feels like you need like a couple of those games, like a longer season.
Yeah, sometimes the Rock Blast hits you for 26, sometimes it hits you for 82, you know?
Quite literally, quite literally. Sometimes it does one and sometimes it kills. Next we got Relix. You know him, you love him. I'm pretty sure he got MVP last season, maybe overall MVP. But Relix, really dominant performance in Sun Moon, and I think nobody was necessarily even close to matching his record. Yeah. So Relix, smashing job. You crushed it, brother. You keep crushing it. Keep doing you, dog.
Mhm. And lastly, we have a a two-way tie and almost three-way tie for Black White, with King Rock and Ahili at 3-1 and Tago following up at 3-2. I might notice how the playoffs ended. Tago going 5-2 and King Rock and Ahili going 3-2, which is why Tago's there despite the worst record. But they all did great. Black White really nice surprise this season, I think, for everyone because like 3 teams doing well, lots of parity among the top teams, and got a bunch of good games.
Yeah, didn't feel right giving it to like one person because
Mhm.
King Rock and Ahili both going 3-1 in the regular season, but Tago finishing off 5-2. It just didn't feel right not
Yeah.
to give shout outs to both of them.
And and if I hype up my teammate for a minute, he should have been 7-0, honestly. both
Yeah,
of those losses, his opponents were like, "Yeah, sorry, I hexed you out."
yeah,
Tough one.
he got some pretty big crits on. I mean, Reuniclus, man, Reuniclus
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
crit magnet. Like that's what you get when you use him, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, both of them crit the Reuniclus.
Exactly. Yeah. And obviously, we've already given shout outs to him, but big shout out to Johnny, who went 4 0 on the regular season, most amount of wins with no losses. He did lose to sickness week 1, so he was out with the flu, so he didn't get to go 5 0. But I think his team won in his place.
Yeah, yeah, he did great.
Yeah. So, 2 really strong Ubers players, obviously, Divinity going 6-2 and Johnny going 4-1. Both great, great showings. And now, also, want to give a shout out to some teams that dominated formats. One that I particularly want to call out here. You don't really see them on the Little Cup board because they kind of split time playing the format. But CGO, Bubba, and Primal, one of them went 2-0, and one of them went 2-1. So overall, they dominated the formats. What's sticking out to you here, Div?
Yeah, I think the main things that stick out to me are the Outlaws in LC and LTG in Sun and Moon. It's really easy to forget about the Gengars because they went third and missed out on the finals of playoffs. But Relix did great. Team did pretty well overall, and so good that they're getting a shout out here.
Yeah, a couple of decent records on the team as well. I think Rage went like 3-3 or 3-2, and then Pez also similar story, where you don't necessarily see them on this board, but like they were an instrumental part of the team helping them make playoffs.
Mhm.
And then finally, the Mons Wars. I think these are funny. Uh, so why don't you give your shout out to Ogre Pond first? I want you to start it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. So Ogre Pod, right? I don't know why that mod was priced where it was or Terra legal, but it was, and so I only tracked my own stats this season for the specific mods. But Ogre Pond went 9-2, and for context, my Mewtwo went 7-0. So did better than my Mewtwo, did better than Rush Ram, did better than I think all 3 Ubers on its team combined. That it was great. It was fantastic. At the start of the season, Tuggo was like, I don't know if it's that good, but I trust you to pick it. And at the end of the season, he was like, yeah, it's that good.
Yeah, getting that +1 speed every time. It's just like,
Mhm.
and being able to switch moves. It's just so good at revenge killing with the speed stat.
Yeah, great mon. Probably my favorite thing I used this season.
Yeah, yeah. The Ogre Pond did great, and then obviously your Mewtwo went like 7-0, and then FMP also had a Mewtwo that crushed. Uh, Something that we see a lot in a lot of the weekly wrap ups is the Carvanas. I felt like Carvanas were killing things that just like neutral hits, killing them from 100% like over and over again. And I think there were probably like 3 different carve sweeps that had just like outright killed a Chinchou or outright killed some grass type with a crunch. I was like, what the hell? What's going on here?
Yeah, Carvana is an absolute monster. And of course, we have to shout out. You have it in small text because Lambo's embarrassed and trying to hide it. But the Magikarp getting, those 2 kills against us, big player, real MVP of his team.
I was gonna say if Magikarp's getting on the kill board, then we got to give Magikarp an MVP award for something. Because like, even though it's not the top mon, it did something this season, baby. Uh, and then you guys had a Zero aura that popped off. There was another team.
Yeah,
Tell us about the Zero a little bit.
yeah. Zero is a good mon, it turns out. Going in, we were like, oh yeah, we think this is like top 2 or 3 mon, so we took it early. I know Cam was upset we took it because he wanted it as well, and it's just a good mon. It performs great. It's a great user of Z moves. And why don't you tell us about the honorable mention for Sun and Moon?
Yeah, I think with the honorable mention, I think Zero was just so strong in this format.
Yeah, a little bit of a controversial take, but I think it's a good pick for honorable mention.
It was like so strong that I was like, it's got to be both. It's got to be both the award and the honorable mention because
Yeah, it's like I looked through the doc and it's like, yeah, it's just Zara, man. It's Zara sweep.
yeah. And I know I've done this completely out of order. Jumping back up to Scarlet Violet. Scarlet Violet was the hardest one to do it for because it was such a like so many different broken mons, so many things that got good sweeps. It was really difficult. So we decided to give it to Greninja. I know Zach Wee had a couple of good performances with Greninja, and it overall just had a good showing. And then the honorable mentions, there were good Curum games, there were a couple of decent Dax games, so we were like, you know what, it's the same damn mon, just give it to the Ice Dragons, man.
Yeah, it's like you have a slow king on the field, you click chilly reception, you go into the Ice Dragon, like same thing. They click DD, they click scale shot, you lose the game, like
Yeah,
same
Gen
bond.
Gen 9, brother. I love that they changed the hail mechanic, but those Ice Dragons are so damn
Oh
pesky.
yeah, yeah, they are terrifying.
And then Black and White, there was actually the only thing that we had three on, if you don't count the Ice Dragons being two. Uh, Zapdos had a lot of really good games with some cool agility sets. And then you guys had an Azelf. How'd your Azelf do? Let us know. I
Uh,
mean, we see it up
uh,
here.
yeah, I don't have the specific stats for it, but I think on it, like our team with Azof was Garchomp, Hydra, Magneton. It's like, oh, Drag Mag, and out of it, it's like I think our Azof did the best. Just it has great coverage and pressure everything. The speed tier's great in Black White. There's not a lot that can contest it without a Scarf. And then like we used various items. We had Citrus on it 1 week, so it would live 2 moves that would normally kill it. You can use a resist berry. It's a great scarfer because at its speed tier almost nothing will outspeed it. It's just a great mon in the format.
Yeah, and then the other Azelf was on the Pony Island Pelipper's team. Obviously, they didn't have a great season, but if I recall correctly, their Azelf did pretty well, and Pony Island Pelipper's also had a Salamence, and their Salamence did well, and also the FMP Salamence did really well. Uh,
Yeah, I know when you had King Rock on, he hyped up the Salamence a lot and was really surprised how far it fell in both drafts.
yeah, there was a highlight. I can't remember exactly what it was, but like Scamp had a defensive Salamence against somebody. It was just like a couple weeks ago, and
Yeah,
defensive
week five.
Salamence as well. Yeah, Pony Island Pelipers brought that choice band Salamence and outraged a Conkeldurr turn one.
Oh yeah, I remember that game.
Uh,
Yeah. Dragons, good, good
yeah,
bonds, and I
who would
think
have
Salamence
guessed?
probably performed the best out of all the dragons that were taken.
Yeah, and then I guess kind of a side shout out to a Healy's Conkeldurr. It didn't have like it wasn't like there were multiple Conkeldurrs that all did well, but it was like a Healy's Conkeldurr did really well. So congrats, a
Yeah,
Healy.
it got the special sauce from Healy playing the old gen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So moving on to some of the plays of the season, and I will remember to change my thing. Okay. All right, I'm in the replay view now.
Perfect.
Uh this I mean, I think this one speaks for itself, right? this is this is the thing that really gets the Magikarp on the kill board. I also just love the beat up, like completely hiding the fact that there's a Magikarp about to get a kill
Yeah.
on the screen.
Yeah.
And the fact that it gets sucker punched as
Yeah.
well for an extra rattled boost. So all of a sudden you have a like +5 Magikarp getting a kill.
And this clip is especially funny because adding beat up to Diglett is like one of the last changes we made on this team to let that happen. So
I-
it nearly didn't, but
yeah, that is just absolutely hilarious, and I love it. Sorry, my computer's having a hard time doing like the screen sharing and all this stuff, but I think it's okay. I don't think it's lagging too much. So sorry if it is. One of my favorite clips of the season. Dave, give me
yes,
a little
this
voiceover on this.
I I don't know if I can. Like I don't think the mortal mind can understand what happens on these turns. But the Quillfish slows down the Thunderous, threatens it with the Destiny Bond. The Thunderous wisely doesn't kill it, but it gives the Quillfish a lot of time to click moves, and it really gets into Primal's head on like, God, what do I click versus this thing to not kill my Thunderous like a dumbass?
Like,
And
how does it get behind a sub and then it still ends the way that it does?
yeah, it's like, okay, this Quillfish, sure, maybe it trades with Thunderous, maybe the Thunderous just PP stalls it, but surely nothing else is going to happen in this clip, right?
Like, okay, like all right, we're spamming Destiny Bomb. We're gonna trade one for one, Quillfish for Thunderous. But Primal's like, this Thunderous is sicko mode in this matchup, so like let's keep it alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you would expect that you can predict how this is gonna end.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but you really just can't. And it's funny how many I forget how long this clip is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like 15
Eventually,
turns.
yeah. Eventually, King Rox realized, oh, I need to stop clicking Destiny Bond because he's just gonna PP stall me. So he breaks the sub, he clicks Spike, and because of that icy wind at the start, this Quillfish is faster and can always threaten Primal with the Destiny Bond. Like fast Destiny Bond into the kill. So Primal has to be like very paranoid, and eventually the Thunder subs down, as you can see, it just gets waterfalled by the Quillfish and dies.
Like, how does a Quillfish get subbed on by a Thundy? And the ending of the sequence is that the Quillfish ends with 86% of its health. The Thunderous is dead, and there's a spike up on the field that wasn't there before the Thunderous switched in.
Yeah, it's an incredible route. I don't think anyone, like, if you showed the start of that clip to anyone, I don't think anyone guesses how it ends.
When I was watching this game, I was like, "Uh-oh, like King Rock's in a bad place. Like he's gonna get swept by a Thunderous switch." Like, I've been there, I've done that. I've gotten swept by some double dance Thundies, but just
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
And then one more clip we have here.
Man, why does our team keep ending up on the other side of these clips?
Oh,
That's
I forget
crazy.
that. I forget that you guys are on the other side of this.
Yep.
Another shout out to Bubba. I have to give some more love to CGO. You gotta love. It's basically it's a dragon dance shaman at this point. It's a shaman with 2 dragon dances.
Yep. Yeah. This was the final week where the games didn't really matter anymore. CGO was eliminated and we were locked. So we get some of these fun sets like SD Trailblaze Shaman that clicks the double edge to knock out the Lottie on the last turn.
Like I know that it's at +2, but the fact that a shaman
Yeah.
can kill a Latios with a
Yeah,
double
like
edge is
my head calc would probably be, oh yeah, it's gonna do 80, but it just does 100. That's crazy.
right. Like it's non-stab too. Was it Life Orb Shaman? It
Yeah.
wasn't even Life Orb Shaman. Like
Yeah, Shaman's just a beast.
like
I know. I think CGO were really high on Shaman and Paldea decks because I know they had it in both of their drafts and proving it a
mm,
little bit there.
yeah, I do think people often sleep on the shamans, and I
Mm.
really love that clip. That's a goated one, Bubba. Be proud. You may get the magnet that says, "Mom, I made it on the freaking highlights more than once." Put
I'm
it on
on
the
the
damn
TV,
fridge.
Bob. Yeah.
I made it on the damn fridge. And I mean, for the play of the season, that I got to give it
Yeah.
to King Rock
Yeah,
with
the other, like the Magikarp, the Shaman were funny, but nothing beats the Quillfish beating the Thundy. It's crazy.
that might like not just be play of the season. That might be like play of DTT's existence because that is
Yeah.
beautiful. Love it.
Hmm.
And then for this one, why don't you give the special shout out to your teammate first, and then I'll talk about the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, so the honorable mention for game of the season is week 2 night versus LTG. I forget who he was playing exactly, but we brought the Volbeat and the Volbeat did Volbeat things. And you might think, oh, Volbeat things are nothing, but when you have Prankster and you have Roost and you can switch in encore things, Roost up is a great matchup for Volbeat. Knight played it really well. So that's the honorable mention.
I like how you say it was a great matchup for Volbeat, but in reality, you're playing a Sun team. Like you're playing a Sun team, and the Volbeat like sat in the face of like Cinderace multiple times.
Yeah, just let the rain. It's a
It,
fire type. What's it gonna do to you?
it was so funny. Like that was an incredible game, but it's hard for me not to give game of the season to this game between Cyber and Zank because this was just an absolute slugfest. And Div, you haven't seen this game yet, or like you've only kind of seen
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah. I remember you talking about it on the recap. I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna start this off, and I want you to watch this because it literally just goes bonkers mode.
Yeah, very disrespectful Zank. Garchomp, but we see the stash makes sense. Lives on the one. Only has the flamethrower for the Rubambi. Bit tragic.
I know, right?
God, why does it take 30?
And
Oh, has the Akka, nice.
yeah,
Okay.
the the Steelix as well. Like the crazy thing, the Steelix lives that hit, and then it sits in the face of a Landorus. And don't forget the Steelix, okay? Because it's coming back with a vengeance.
Oh yeah. Stone Edge. Oh, the Zapdos lives on 2.
Lives on 2.
Oh, wait. And it doesn't get the kill.
And the Yachi, and then into a Miss Stone Edge. Right? Like, what is this slugfest?
Yeah, that's a crazy game so far.
And then again the Yachi,
Dude.
imagine
Yeah, imagine.
1%. Perfect calc every time. Altaria living on.
Wow. Oh, with agility. That's interesting. You don't see agility Altaria watch.
Yeah,
Fire
right.
move.
Literally like perfect calcs back and forth, dodging stone edges.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, yeah. I was hoping.
I'm honestly a little surprised that Pharaoh didn't live there.
I'm surprised it wasn't like an Akka very Ferrothorn that lives at 0.5%.
Big 9-tails.
Of course, obviously, when you're trying to revenge kill a Rotom, I bring in my 9-tails to Inferno Overdrive naturally, as one does.
Of course. Yeah, classic counter.
And then you have your Infernape in the sun, so then it's like, all right, well, this Necrozma's screwed. He's not going to be able to get enough to kill the Kyurem.
And then Infernape being mixed probably dooms it to not kill the Necrozma here, and it gets off the Trick Room.
Literally the only set that would have won this game.
Yep.
Because
God,
like
I love Gen 7 Necrozma with the 50% berries. It's
yeah,
so good.
oh my gosh, yeah. But like usually like you don't have I don't think you have Dragon Dance Necrozma in this generation. So like you have to agility and hope that they hit you with a super effective move and that it sets off a weakness policy. Which like obviously Cyber's not going to do that. There's Sun Up and I'm an Infernape and then I'll just come in and have my Kyurem kill everything. Setting up the Trick Room for a Steelix sweep at the end when the Steelix should have been dead in front of a Landorus earlier in the game, like insane
also,
to me.
Nice shout out to the Kyurem, Blizzard, and Sun. Not at all where you'd expect that move to be clicked, but
yeah, like everything about this game is like it's another wacky one. Like the more I think about it, the weirder it gets. Like at face value, I'm like that was a pretty crazy game, but then I'm like, what that Blizzard, Kyurem, and Sun? Like what the heck's going on?
Yeah, great game. Congrats to Cyber and Zank for getting the game of the season.
Absolutely. And then we have one more slide here, and I think just one more slide here, and then we'll get to your thoughts on some of the board. We have the steals of the season, and that is FMP, C Diggs, 2-0, and then also Emo Pokecraft, both going 2-0 for 7K. A couple of other players doing really well for like 20K or so. I think Johnny, right? Was there anyone else that off the top of your head, Div?
I mean, yeah, Johnny's the main one. He went for, I think, 20K and went 4-0. He got the best overall regular season. The other one I want to shout out is Zach. He was like pretty much the best performing member of his team, as well as he's just the GOAT in prep. And I think he went for, I think maybe 20, I think it was 15. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But any number you're getting Zach for is a massive steal.
Absolutely. Like Zach puts the damn team. Like if I could give an award for most helpful player in every prep channel ever to exist, like Zach, shout out to you, brother.
And especially shout out to him because he came and helped us in playoffs after his team didn't make it.
Big ups, Zach. We love that for you. Beautiful. And I am switching over to the doc view, baby. Where should I start? I'm just going to start up at the top left.
Let's start on the stats doc first. Actually.
Let's start on the stats doc. You guide my hand, brother.
Okay. So I just want to talk about the formats overall we see down here. Here, I think a lot of the games or a lot of the formats like we talked about at the start had one or two really good teams, and then you see a lot of parity between the rest of the teams. So in SV, right, we see Scamp 5-1, of course, but everyone else has 2 or 3 wins. And Sun and Moon Relix has these 5 wins, but everyone else 2 or 3 wins. Black and White, top 2 teams are 4 and 5. But then we see most teams have 3 or 2 wins, with Flamigos only having 1. And LC and Ubers are a bit different, where LC you have like 2 top teams with Outlaws and FMP with 5 and 4 wins. You have the 2 middle teams, Flamigos and Gengars, with 3 wins, and then you have the 2 bottom teams, which are Pelipers and the team that shall not be named because it's definitely not mine. But so we have like 3 high parity formats. LC's a bit mixed, and then we have Ubers, which I don't know about you, but it was the biggest surprise for me this season, where we have these two top teams, TL and FMP. We have one
Mhm.
middle team with Gengars, and then we have these 3 1-4 teams, and that really surprised me. I didn't think it would be as like polarizing as it ended up being.
Right. I did think it was like a really good format though. So I know you
Mhm.
played a lot of Ubers. Like, were you an Ubers guy before, or is this just something that you stepped into and it clicked with you?
Yeah, I basically when formats were announced, I was like, oh, maybe I'll play Ubers, maybe I'll play Black White, and like I signed up on Black White getting added over ADV, and then I ended up playing Ubers because I saw some stuff. It's like, oh, this looks kind of cool. And for the most part, it's just national decks with you just have two funny mons and one borderline mon usually. And that's part of why I was surprised that we have like these 3 1-4 teams and 1 3-3 team, because as far as formats go, I feel like it's not that unapproachable as it could have been.
Right, right. And in terms of drafts too, like I don't think anybody drafted like
Mhm.
horribly
Yeah.
either. Like even the 1-4 teams, like it. Who did they play? Who did who did they all get their losses against? Did they
Oh yeah,
just play you guys over and over again?
it's Outlaws, Flamingos, and Pelipers beat each other, and then
Hmm.
lost to everyone else. So I don't know exactly,
uh,
but like they beat each other, and then Gengars beat the 3 1-4 teams, and then lost to me twice and FMP once, and then obviously FMP and us traded 1-1.
got it. Got it. Another funny statistic. Sorry if I'm jumping a little bit here, but
Go for it.
just the sorry, my computer is lagging. You can do it. The the overall differential of the league too was just it feels. I'm calling this out just because it feels similar, right? Like
Mhm.
Fluttermane Pirates going with positive 11 differential, Lavender Town Gengars with positive 3 differential. Literally
Uh,
only two teams had it, and like you guys made playoffs with a negative differential, which I think is
yeah, yeah,
pretty funny.
we went to game 5 on every win and all but one of our losses. So our diff is a mess.
Yeah, yeah, and the fact that like only two teams had positive records too, right? Like you were one of the two
Mhm.
teams that had a positive record. However, two teams have positive records, two teams have positive differential, but like there's a Venn diagram there
Yeah,
that does
that-
that doesn't overlap correctly.
yeah, very funny.
I would expect you guys to be the ones that have the positive differential because you have the
Mhm.
the positive record, but it just
Mhm.
with such a short season with only 6 teams, like it doesn't always work out like that, I guess.
No. Yeah, especially I think this season was a lot of teams underperforming as well, and that's why we see like so many negative teams.
Right.
Is you would like I think Flamingos could have done a lot better than they did. I think Outlaws could have done a lot better than they did. Pelipers could have done a lot better than they did. But
Yeah, but it's funny because it's like when you have so many underperforming teams based on like their quality and their talent and like decent
Mhm.
drafts and stuff, it's like you'd expect to see some overperforming teams, but it's like basically Fluttermane Pirates just
Yep.
took that arbitrage and they're like, we're running with the
Yeah.
baby, we'll take it for you.
Yeah. Yeah. FMP went, oh, a team can overperform or multiple teams can overperform? Give it all to us. We'll
Yeah, we'll
take it.
just we'll steal it all for ourselves. We'll take that one. We'll take that differential, baby.
Ugh.
That's funny. Did you have anything else that you wanted me to be on the stat sheet for right now? Did you have anything else you wanted to call out?
I think yeah, let's go to the team stats page for one thing briefly.
Yep.
And I wanna draw your attention to LTG Ubers. And just want to point out, I believe you said that this Ubers one team was the worst Ubers team in the league, right?
I said that, man. I stand on business.
And I can't help but notice they brought it to every game but one.
Hey, man. I stand on business. I stand by what I said, and I'll pull up the team just for everybody to see what we're talking about too. But that's not it's the drafts page.
Mhm.
What I said about it being the worst is the fact that we're looking at LTG team one there.
Yep.
It is high variance. Okay, like it is definitely you look across the board, I predict this to be the least consistent team in the league. However,
Mhm.
I do think it will like I think it'll get I think it'll get some crushing wins, and then I think it'll get some crushing defeats. And I mean, when I watched you play, right, like you dismantled it, right?
Oh yeah, but I think it's first of all, I think it's the best just pure offense team in the format. But for
Mm.
us, it was also I think probably my least favorite matchup I've had to prep for, maybe ever, because I think
Wow.
it is probably the most narrow matchup I've ever had. Like the win cons were very narrow, and I think
Mm.
we prepped for that game for 3 days, and I had very low confidence until the third day.
Right, because like that's what the team does. Like I'm also just I have an anti-offense bias because I
Mm-hmm.
like things that are consistent. I like things that you consistently can try to win with, and then
Mm-hmm.
it feel. And my hope is that the better player wins, and that I am just the better player. So like I'll play my opponent. But like this
Mm-hmm.
just throws caution to the wind, and it's like,
Oh
dude, if I get one opening, I'm running to the damn
yeah, yeah.
fences.
And just to talk about it a little, I think the biggest player, and you might not expect this on an Uber's team or like there's the Terramon down there, is actually the Samurott Hisui. And I think the spikes with these Uber threats, with the Terra Azu to threaten the belly drum, it's very threatening, especially when you consider, Rayquaza has extreme speed. Lucario has like 4 different forms of priority. Samurott Hisui has the Aqua Jet and Sucker Punch. Donphan has the Ice Shard. The Zubero has the Aqua Jet. And it's just like, oh yeah, you have to manage spikes, and it's like, okay, here's my fast spawn, but my fast spawn gets chipped and then gets chipped by the hazards and then dies to E-Speed or Bullet Punch, and it's just such a headache to prep around, especially when it's like, okay, I've got the offense nailed down, and then the Spectre comes out and sweeps you, and it's like, ah.
Hey, just so you know, you're forgetting one. Rotom also gets Sucker Punch, I believe. So don't don't forget that piece of
True, true.
priority, man.
Yeah, yeah, the most important part. But
Yeah.
I think the team. I agree. Like on paper, I don't love it, but having prep for it, I think it's a really good team and a really interesting build for offense that was really difficult to prep for.
That's another fair point. I didn't have to prep for a single game. I'm just backseating. I'm just here to like look
Yeah.
at the hype highlights, right? So I don't. What do I
Mhm.
know? I'm just stupid color commentary guy.
Yeah.
What did you think about like the Ubers format, like the way with you draft 3 Ubers? Did you feel like it was a balanced format? Would you want to play it again?
Yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part. Uh, so for anyone who doesn't know me, I've been playing draft since Gen 6, and like before or S Gen 6. So I've dipped my toes in Ubers a lot, and I've never really enjoyed it. But I think, especially with modern power level, and I think the format having 3 Ubers helps a lot. And even though I normally don't really enjoy Ubers, I enjoyed this format a lot. I think there's some things that I didn't love. I think drafting was a little bit awkward with the pool. I don't know. I can't tell you exactly what the problem was, but I know our Mewtwo team was one I didn't enjoy enjoy building the Uber score for.
Hmm. Interesting. Wait, let me see your.
We went
Uh,
Mewtwo, Valiant, Reshiram. And it's
uh,
it's just something about the 25 and what's in like 21 to 19 felt super awkward.
got it. And the fact that you didn't have Ogerpon on that team is probably your
Yeah,
main issue.
yeah.
uh, to me, honestly, it feels like at this point, compared to past generations, Scarlet Violet Nat decks, or not even Nat, it was Scarlet Violet regional decks, almost feels like Uber's power level. Like if you could bring a Scarlet Violet uh, regional decks team versus like a Gen 6 Uber's team, I feel like they could compete with each other. Am I crazy for saying that?
I think you're a little crazy for saying that. I think maybe if you go back to like Gen 4 or Gen 3, then you might have the edge. But I don't know, Gen 6 has Xerneas and Devotal and Zygarde complete. It's like
Okay,
actually
that's pretty true.
I don't
How
know if
about
Zygarde complete exists actually.
Gen
That's a Gen
5?
7 mon.
Gen
Yeah,
5.
Gen 5 maybe.
Like some of these mons just feel like insane to me. What do you think about the Scarlet Violet format in general? Are you a fan of it or?
Uh, uh, I think so. I think we underperformed at SV definitely, and I think the main factor in that is none of us have experience in regional decks anymore, and like, I think this format is surprisingly hard to prep for if you only play national decks.
Mm.
and that was definitely something we struggled with. I think it ends up being really weird. Every time a new DLC comes out, I'm like, oh yeah, surely Meowscarada isn't that good anymore in regional deck. Surely things are better than it. And it's like, nope, it's still just like top 3 mon in the format.
Yeah, right. And like to me, I mean, Meowscarada and Greninja feel like such
Mhm.
similar mons too. And like obviously the Greninjas did really well. Meowscarada's hard not to do well with, right?
Yeah, and then the Greninja, I was very surprised how good the new Battle Bond ended up being. Where
Mm.
it's instead of giving you Ash Greninja, it gives you +1 in each offensive stats the first time you get a kill, and it's like, oh yeah, turns out it's really good, and I didn't think it would be. I think a lot of people didn't think it would be. That's why we see Greninja went round 2 in the second draft, and I think later in the first draft. I don't see it right now, but
Uh, in the first draft, it was Zach
oh,
Wee's
it was
number one
round 1.
pick. Yeah,
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 okay.
round one.
So Zach was on the train, but I think the rest of us lagged behind a bit, not really understanding how good the Greninja was.
Yeah, I actually heard some talk that people thought Greninja wasn't going to be very good anymore.
But yeah, like I thought Protein was gonna be good, but I thought Battle Bond was dead except for extremely good matchups.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it turned out to be pretty good. I agree.
And then hold on, before you scroll, I want to look at this Fluttermane Pirates team too real quick in SV. As like they got great Tusk, right? Classic like top 1 to 2 mon. They
Mhm.
got Greninja, great mon after the buffs. They got
Yep.
round 3 Slowking Galar, great mon, and then they got final round Kiro. And it's like,
That's.
how did we let this team happen? Oh my god.
Do you think that this was the best team on the Scarlet Violet board?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Do you think it
Like
was
I
anything
thought
close?
uh, so our team one, TL team one. I thought our top 4 was illegal until I saw the FMP team 2, and their top 4 is more illegal. But so Latios Urshifu is like we played this last season in I think national decks. But like I've played a lot, Dad's played a lot, Knight's played it a lot. We really like this Latios Urshifu core, and then
Mm.
we got torn T treads in between it, and it's like okay, that's crazy. I don't know how this happened. So
What's
I think
really
our team one was really good.
what's really funny is when I look at your team one, I'm like, yeah, obviously, very, very, very good team. Uh, I think did Naito bring the Dunsparce like every every week?
Oh yeah, yeah. We brought it week 2 versus the Great Tusk with CM Chopple, and we were like, ah yes, CM Chopple's the best set every week.
I
But
I swear I saw him like every game. Like every time I watched a Naito replay, I was like, oh look, another Dunsparce.
yeah,
Like oh like I felt like the Dunsparce was coming more than like Treads or something, or like Rotom.
uh, definitely more than Rotom. I think it was probably our 5th most used one. I think it
That's
beat Fez, Rotom, and Volbeat for sure.
yeah, that's fine. I mean, I guess you just bring top four easily and then choose your
Yeah,
last two. And a lot of times the Dunsparce was
yeah,
just on the dang
yeah.
bill.
Which it's a pretty good mon. You know, it can click rocks. It was one of our 2 rockers, which is part of it as well. But like it clicks rock, it clicks glare. It has a super threatening boom burst. Even if you like, even if boom burst isn't good, it has 60% chance to paralyze. Body slam, like
Mm,
it's a pretty good mon, especially in 8 mon and especially in regional decks where you have limited options.
hmm. Yeah, yeah, I feel that, brother. Cool. You cool if I scroll down to
Yep.
black white? I'm curious to get your thoughts on black white
So,
as a format.
uh, I think it was fun. I enjoyed having it. I don't know if I like it more than ADV or DPP actually.
Mm,
Which
but
was a bit of surprise because I was one of the people pushing for it over ADV when you make guys made the format change. But
right, like I'm personally obviously a big ADV stan, right?
mm,
But I thought black and white was a saucy format. Like
oh,
watching the games, they were black and white were my favorite games to watch this season personally.
mhm. Yeah, I think it's a very fun like offense format where you're just like throwing things at each other and crazy shit happens for sure. And I think it's really fun from the spectator point of view. But like prepping it feels pretty weird. You always have the disconnect of like, oh, what are Gen 5 rules compared to modern Gen or even other old gens, as well as just the complete supremacy of dragons is always terrifying.
Mm, mm. So like if you had
Although
to, oh sorry,
we
go
have
ahead.
we had the dragons, so we didn't have to worry about that quite
Yeah,
as much as the other teams. But
I was gonna say I'm surprised that you guys were the only one that did a drag team,
yeah, I was surprised too.
and I'm also surprised that you guys didn't get like Drudagon instead of like Zeb Striker or something, and just go like triple dragon.
Yeah, I like if we did it again, maybe we'd do that because I think we brought Zebstrika once, and it was the week where Tago said, "I don't care, I'm bringing Zebstrika."
That's very funny.
But I think I'm pretty happy with how our teams turned out. I talked about how earlier how black and white was one of the formats I was thinking of playing, and these are probably exactly what I would have wanted to draft. I knew I wanted Ray Uniclus Sand on one side and Dragons on the other, and with our
Mm,
picks, I think I probably would have drafted pretty close to this.
right on. Yeah. Yeah, I would. I mean, I'm the league owner, so like I could probably lobby for this to happen, right? But I want to see black and white come back. You know, like maybe not next season, but maybe the season after or something. Like I'm personally looking forward to like I want just good formats going forward. Like I
Mm-hmm.
want the ones that are fun to watch, fun to play, so that when we get the highlights going, people are like, yeah, I want to watch the
Mm-hmm.
black white highlights. I want to watch the yada yada highlights, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think the format was a success overall. It'll be nice instead of just having two old gen formats, we have a third we can throw in. Like super nice,
Yeah, rather than just
super nice
going
for the league. Yeah.
yeah ADV DPP. I'll tell you what I really want. I want ADV DPP black white all in one tour. I'm like give me just three through seven. It's like the draft classic.
Yeah, it's just Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5. Do it best of 7. Gen 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, honestly, like somebody make the dang league because I want to
Uh,
make content for that. Uh, Sun and Moon. I feel like there's not much to say about Sun and Moon. It's tried and true, and
yep.
I think it's a good format, right?
Yeah, it's I think out of the modern gens, it's probably my least favorite. Mostly because Z moves are very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good format. I think the drafts ended up being kind of crazy. Like there's the Megalops Celesteela team, and it's like
Mm.
how'd that happen? And then there's our team liquidation team one, where it's like we got Zero Mega Glade, and then still got Finny Scarm Roselia Hydra. It's like I don't know how that happened.
And I love having your zero team right next to LTG zero team, just copying each other's homework.
Yeah, copied our copied our homework, but with the worst Mega and the worst Water type.
But I will say that, like, did they really copy your homework? Because like, how many people have built this exact, like, almost
Yeah,
exact team in the past as well, which is
yeah,
very funny.
yeah.
There were a couple like that. Like, I feel like a lot. I don't think there was. I feel like the most innovative thing I saw with Sun Moon was probably like PIP Team Two. Felt a, a little more different than like a lot of
Mhm.
teams are things that we've seen before. PIP Team 2 felt a little bit different, trying like the Nine Tails, Mega Altaria kind of
Yeah.
build.
Yeah, I think their core isn't that innovative. Like Zapdos Greninja is a classic Gen 7
Right.
core.
Right.
And especially like, oh, they got the Chomp on it. Although I don't know why. I don't know why the Greninja has the Z moves and not the Chomp. But
Mm-hmm.
regardless. But then they develop pretty differently. Like I think you see Necrozma fairly often, and Rose is a good staple. But the Steelix, Ninetales, Altaria, Mega are all like pretty different things and give the team a different look than it would normally get.
Right. I appreciate it finishing off a little bit weird though, just because like everything here looks solid, everything here looks standard,
Hmm.
uh, and that just felt like kind of creative. So I wanted to give a little shout out to that.
Oh yeah.
And then one more format we'll talk about before I'll just give you, a couple minutes if you have any final thoughts. What do you think about Little Cup?
It is a format. Yeah, I think the draft was pretty surprising. Uh, like Grookey went late round one in the first draft, and then early round one in the second draft. Or I think it might have went round two in the first draft. I don't see it. Oh no, there it is. But I think Grookey was like a really good player. I think LTG and the developers were very happy to have a Grookey team on one side. I think our team one is another team where it's like I don't know how we got our top three. And
Mm,
same thing, who had it? Yeah, Flamigo's team two. I don't know why everyone forgot about Abra until round 6, but
They
oh.
didn't forget about Abra. I'm telling you, people just they disrespect Abra. They know
Yeah.
about Abra and they just think it's not that good. And I'm like, I thought Abra was in contender for like
Mhm.
a Little Cup MVP. I think it goes so hard.
Yeah. Although to be fair, I think part of it is also the Ponyta Galar really changed it. Like we
Mm,
had the dilemma on our draft too, where the best pick available was Ponyta Galar, but we don't want double psychic type because we're gonna build them almost the same. It's just gonna be worse than our team one. And I think like FMP probably had that where it's like, oh, we don't want Abra on side 2 because we have the Ponyta. And same thing with Pelipper's, like they round 1 the Ponyta Galar because they think it's better, and it's like, okay, the Abra's off the table. And including us at that point, it's like only 3 teams are competing for the Abra.
right, right. That makes sense. Uh, we've done a lot of Little Cup recently. Uh, I'm personally in favor of passing on Little Cup for a season, and then like I don't know, is there a format that you want to see going forward, or something that you don't want to see as much of going forward?
I think we saw a little bit of push for it at the beginning of this season, if you remember, with Scamp. But I think doubles is a perfect thing to slot in over Little Cup,
Bro,
where it's
I stand doubles every season, to be
yeah,
honest.
where it's the same type of thing where it's normal play, but with a modifier basically, like something's different to where your knowledge doesn't perfectly translate. eh, Where it's like, okay, Little Cup's like, okay, the damage rolls are weird, the items are different, the mons are obviously babies, and doubles is the same type of thing where it's like, okay, everything like how you think about the game is different. The item like clear amulet is a very niche item in normal play, but you see it a lot in VGC, and then it's like, okay, all of a sudden there are a bunch of new things that are different. It's like, okay, Torn, the normal Torn is better than the Therian form, and there's a bunch of different things to change. And I think doubles hits like the same type of the same notes that LC hits for competition, and I think it could be cool to see it over LC one season.
Yeah. I used to main VGC for a couple of different seasons. I usually like the non-restricted formats.
Hmm.
Uh, where I played a lot during the season that Sejun Park won with the Pachirisu.
Hmm.
Uh, and I it's just it's very different, like
Yeah.
the positioning is different, and like trying to decide, do I double into one of his mons, or is this play too obvious? Is he's just going to
Hmm.
protect and then he's going to have like this free turn that like you don't get free turns in uh in 1v1 usually, at least not the same way that you get
Yeah.
a free turn by like calling out a double protect, or calling out a double attack into a mon and protecting with it,
Hmm.
the way you do in doubles. Like sometimes doubles, like the risk and reward can just feel like massively swung in both directions. It's
Hmm.
hot, it's cold, it's hot, it's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I play a little bit usually at the start of each gen of VGC because I
Mm,
like regional dex formats in VGC more than I like it in singles.
yeah, right. I agree. Yeah, so I would love to see, I
Hmm.
would love to make doubles happen, uh, over probably a little. I would love to have three old gens, a doubles format, and then something else. Uh,
Yeah.
but I guess
one
we'll see.
modern, one modern, one doubles, 3 old gens.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Is there anything else you wanted to share about the season? If not, you can wrap us up and do the ending outro.
It's a lot of pressure. I don't know. uh, nah, I'm pretty happy with how this season went. The end was obviously a bit disappointing, but like I had a really good season. I did a lot better than in season 2. I think I went 1-3, and 6-1's a bit of a departure from that. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, pretty happy with the season. It's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the next one, although I probably won't play in the next one. But regardless, uh,
I'll make sure to get some formats that'll make you want to play, because I love having you div.
so, yeah, I'd be consulting again if I'm not playing, like I did last season.
Or you can join the
But
content team.
I could. That could be fun. But we'll see. I'm excited for what comes next in DTT, and excited to play with everyone again whenever it comes around. So
Right on. Thank you. And I won't make you do the outro. I'll do the outro. Everybody, get out of here. Stop watching the video. I'll see you next time, next season, baby.